All right. Hello, everybody. It is August 22nd, 2023, 9:20 a.m. We are all alive and healthy today on a beautiful, at least in New Jersey, sunny Tuesday. Probably the last of the warm Tuesdays we're going to have for a while here in New Jersey because fall is on the way, autumn is on the way, the best time of the year, October is on the way. So it's time to soak up some of that summer sun before we get into the fall. Before we start, we're going to do the word of the day. I really hate forgetting the word of the day. And when I get into the market, I get so animated, so accentuated, so fundamentally inclined to be able to make as much analysis as I can that I forget to do the word of the day. So we're going to get started with the word of the day. This is an interesting word of the day. So here we go. The word of the day today is antepenultimate.
Antepenultimate.
Antepenultimate. And it means third from the end. Antepenultimate. So the antepenultimate episode of the thrilling TV series kept viewers on the edge of their seat. So instead of saying the third to last, have you ever heard of that? There's nowhere on the planet you have ever heard of this word other than My Market Open. Just recognize that. But when you die, you will remember, I know how to say third from the last. Just so you know how people say second to last, you will know how to say third from the last, antepenultimate, because of My Morning Open. So I don't know how you're going to use this word today in a sentence, but you will find a way to use antepenultimate in a sentence today somehow, because this is the only place in the world where you've ever heard of this word. That's just where it is. Broccoli Bob, Freddie, Roy, Victor, C, Julio, Raul, Seth Roth, SJ, Ty, Gorton, Iceman, Anthony, Monty, Tom Brady, Doug C, Islander, John Stevens, Freedom, Fuel, Dex, Joshua, John Loop, Ricardo Flores, Paul Goggins, June, Joseph, Mark, Doug, Jude Jr., SJ, love the shirt. Thank you, Secco, Moody, One Piece, Missy, Dexter, thank you for being here. Socrates, Edmund, Tom's Piece. 1:22 a.m. with school tomorrow. Are you in high school or college? Bro, that's so cool if you're in high school, because I used to watch YouTubers when I was in high school. So if I'm one of the YouTubers that you're watching while you're like about to go to school, that's like kind of crazy, bro. Just to think like that you're watching me before high school, you know, it's kind of cool. I used to watch a bunch as well. I guess that's how life goes. All right, let's get into it. Code Felicia, thank you for being here. 1476 on Palantir, 1.79% in the pre-markets. We got a bunch of little news headlines to run through before we get into it. Look at NVIDIA. It's up 2.63%. I didn't even know yesterday it ended at 470. I actually didn't check where it ended. Now it's at $482. Someone knows something before earnings. I think, I've been saying this, I think they're going to hit it out of the park. However, there is a chance that guidance goes lower for the full year and they tank. But I just think it's hard to imagine that given how much they projected into the future. So as long as they keep that guidance up, they're going to be fine. Would I buy it? No, because it's incredibly risky just in case they tank. But NVIDIA right now at 482 in the pre-market. Enphase 131 in the pre-market. Palantir is up. Zoom is up. Apple is up. Look at SoFi. Look at that. 839 in the pre-markets. Robinhood 1054 in the pre-markets. That's beautiful. I think I bought a little bit of the SoFi dip yesterday. Remember those calls that I ended up closing because no one on the live stream wanted to inform me that I was closing that opening? I bought 4 of them back yesterday. So I was able to do that. Now, a couple of different headlines, and then we'll get deeper into the charts as we get into the market open. There will be a sell-off tomorrow. Well, I mean, it might be a sell the news, or it might be just a rally on top of news. I mean, look, there is a world in which NVIDIA reports earnings, and now we sustain 500 as the minimum. And as crazy as that sounds, how crazy would it be if when we were at 280, I said, yeah, 450 is going to be the average after earnings? Like, no one would have believed me, including myself. I wouldn't have believed myself. Like, what? 450 is the average for NVIDIA? 450 has basically been the average for the past 2 months, simply because of amazing earnings. So let's look at Zoom real quick. Zoom was up about 8% after hours. It ended up about 4% to $1.34 adjusted EPS versus $1.05 expected. $1.14 billion in revenue versus $1.2 billion. For the last 4 quarters, Q3 2022, Q4 2022, Q1 2023, Q2 2023, Zoom has done $1.1 billion in revenue. So this is the company that, Cathie Wood believes it's going to get to 1,500. Look, maybe it gets there. But in terms of quarterly growth, there is no quarterly growth. So unless they think there's some massive growth wave in the future that's coming because of AI or because of the metaverse that Zoom creates or because of whatever way they want to justify intercompany communication payment spend, Zoom is just not a company that's growing a massive. Remember, this is the second largest portfolio holding in Cathie Wood's ARK. This is one that, again, I've heard her talk about, but with this revenue growth, I don't know what exactly they see when it comes to growth. I mean, 1.4 billion is nothing to scoff at, but every quarter it's 1.1 billion. It's the same thing. So that's the Zoom news. Then we got some Alex Karp news. Chad tweeted this out last night. Alex Karp has filed for the sale of 585,000 Palantir shares. 585,000. Now, I might do a video on this later just because people are talking about it, so I wanted to give my perspectives. A couple of things I wrote right here, so let's just read this real quick. I said, if Karp's selling 585,000 shares, that means the stock will go down, right? Because he's selling. So the company will use the 1 billion they have to buy back the shares cheaper. So we all basically win. That is my fundamental due diligence on the analysis of cutting back the shares. No, I'm just kidding. So in all reality, I said it might be part of scheduled sales. Remember, Karp sold sales when it was $6, right? Because he had 105, 10.5B scheduled sales. So it really doesn't matter in case it's a scheduled sale because he was going to sell whether it was $50, $20, or $5. However, if it wasn't a scheduled scale, it goes to show he may want some liquidity, and valuations matter. What he sold was 0.9% of his overall holding. So it's just not enough to get all up in arms and be like, oh my God, the CEO is selling it. It's like, yeah, the CEO has been there for 20 years. He's going to sell some shares, right? That's not that big of a deal. Everyone sells shares. Elon sold shares, right? Like people sell shares. However, everyone's saying Palantir is always undervalued because the TAM and whatever else they can think of to justify an 18x price of sales with 13% year-over-year growth also have to reconcile that sometimes management, if this is not a scheduled sale, might have said, hey, we only grew 13% year over year and the market's not kicking our ass with these shares. Maybe I should liquidate some of these holdings because we have a very rich valuation given our growth. And so I think that's totally fine. I think that's what has to happen in a normal economy. Management takes off some of their shares. But if this is scheduled, it doesn't matter. If it wasn't scheduled, then absolutely 100% he does believe it's a little bit overvalued, which is fine. And it's reasonable, in my opinion. Karp needed new skis. That's exactly what happened. Karp needed new skis. We don't sell shares of it. Investing in entrepreneurship says, I'm still expecting pullback this week, but next Monday, the market moves up to its next high. I still believe we're going to 420 on the S&P. I still think that's happening. Look, but the craziest thing that's going on, we got to check this real quick. The bond markets. Have you guys been keeping up with what's going on in the bond market? I think on the 2-year, we got over 5%. Are we still there? Yeah, look at this. This is insane. That in my lifetime of 25, almost 26 years on October 26th on this planet, I have not seen the 2-year at 5.2%. Now, was it there in 2008? Let me check because I might have just been oblivious to it. But okay, it got there in 2008. So in 2008, it was at the high was 2007, 5.145% on your cap. So 5.12. Right now it's at 5.00. So we aren't at 2007 highs. We are very close. But the problem is all this liquidity that's entering into the bond markets makes it incredibly difficult for the stock market to be able to benefit from all this liquidity. Crossroads, I had a dream about you. I'm sorry to tell you, I had a dream about you. This is the craziest dream. The fact that I'm having dream about subscribers, bro, you guys are like in my life, like legit. Okay, so for those that want to know the dream real quickly, Crossroads was a teacher, like a biology teacher, and I was a kid, and like I didn't take notes in class, and Crossroads was just like, hey, you should take some notes. Like it was the weirdest thing, bro. I woke up like, bro, how am I having dreams about my subscribers? For those that don't know, Crossroads, he has a Twitter account, and he's been talking a lot about PayPal. So we've been connected on Twitter. I've seen him on Zoom, and we just talk. And so the fact that he showed up in my unconscious dream, telling me to take notes in biology class, I was just like, wow, this is talk about getting close with your subscribers. But anyway, Sofi now at $8.40. Again, Karp sold some shares, not that big of a deal. And we'll see what effect it has on the market. Sofi also now is number 25 on the iOS charts. It is moving up. We're going to talk about that as well. But the liquidity entering the bond market, that is going to have a massive impact on a lot of equity markets. And hopefully that liquidity starts to leave the bond market and go to the stock market. But there has to be some catalyst to be able to see that happen. All right, August 22, 2023, 9:30 a.m. The stock market is now open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. It is time to see What's going on in the stock market? Sofi at $8.42. Very nice open at $1 or 1.57% up. Palantir at 14.77. This is after Alice Karp is selling shares, so still really interesting to see Palantir being up. Enphase at 130, Nvidia at 479, up 2%. Apple at 176, up 0.48%. Alibaba at $89.43, up 0.97%. Robinhood, $10.55. I wanted Robinhood below 9 a little bit longer, or below 10, but it stayed there for like 3 minutes on Friday and rebounded back up. Again, Robinhood, you're buying cash and you're buying a brokerage for $3 billion. That's now GAAP profitable. So I don't know if we get it under, but maybe if the S&P goes to 420, we'll see some of those prices again. S&P at 440, it's up today, up 0.37%. NASDAQ, nice open, 13,582 at $84. Disney at 86. Walmart and Target are down. Also, Dick's Sporting Goods is down 20% today. Now, the reason they're down 20%, this is very interesting. This is actually exactly what I talked about yesterday. Remember I said yesterday Walmart is closing down because of theft? Dick's reduced their overall guidance because too many people were, for lack of a better word, being a dick in their store and stealing. So theft at Dick's and Macy's is actually what got these guys to go lower this year. And that's a more sociological argument that we have to think about in the context of what's going on with humanity. If people feel that they can just steal from these stores, I saw yesterday some guy was using a what is that thing? A fire torch to open up like something at Walgreens to steal product. It was pretty bad. And so I think the gap between the wealthy and the rich is getting to a point where people feel they can justify stealing and there's no issue because, capitalism is evil. And that's something again. JP Morgan is down. Zion is down. Key Group is down. Key Group is the one that got the downgrade. TFC did not get downgraded today. S&P Global downgraded some of these stocks, but TFC was not downgraded from S&P. They were downgraded from Moody's a week ago. Roku, 79. It's up today. Square, wow. Square is back at 57. Square was at 80 or 79 just 2 weeks ago. Yeah, look at that. 81.47. So Square has gotten hit with all the other fintechs as well. Arc Innovation at 41, Lyft at $11.30. Let's look at PayPal. I think PayPal's at 59.30. Oh, PayPal's at 60. I was going to say 60, but I didn't want to say 60 because I didn't think it would got there. PayPal at $60, not too bad. Obviously still a long, long way to go, but we'll see what happens to PayPal. C3 AI up 2%, QQQ 365 up 0.53%, and Netflix at 410. Not bad. We've got a pretty green market. PayPal just turned to 59 for a second. Palantir at 14.91. What? That's incredible price action on Palantir on a green day at 2.7%. Enphase down below 130 at 129. Nvidia at 478. And again, Sofi at 842. So not bad. Shintoki says, is the uptrend a bull trap? Shintoki, if I had to answer, I would actually say yes, because I do think, again, looking at the bond market, none of this stuff makes any sense. Oh, let me go to Tesla as well. Let me go to Tesla. Thank you, Imnop. I forgot to go look at Tesla. 239. Okay, very nice. Almost 240 on Tesla, up 30%. Looking at the bond market, a lot of the equity uptrends seem like they're going to be short-lived. I was trying to read a lot of analysis yesterday on what's going on in the bond market, and essentially, people would rather trust the U.S. Treasury and like the debt system of the United States versus trusting equities right now because of the fears of two things. Number one, the fears that companies are not going to be able to perform in Q3, which I think for some companies, yeah, but I think big tech's going to knock it out of the park in Q3. I don't think Google and Facebook are going to do, worse than Q2. So that's one thing. And then number two is the fear of inflation coming back. Let's look at Trueflation right now as well. The fear of inflation coming back is definitely not an irrational fear. In my opinion, Trueflation has us right now at 2.69%, but it is a fear. And as a result of that, if inflation does come back, you do not want to be in equities at all. Like there's just imagine if you took all your money out before the latest CPI print, you would be on cash and you'd probably be doing better. Now, obviously that's timing the market, which is really difficult to do, but you don't want to be in a market where inflation is ticking upwards. As you can see in August, we had 8 days left of August and it's ticking upwards, right? And so we might get a CPI print that's nasty in September. And if that's the case, the Fed really has got to make a decision of just like, all right, do we raise rates or not? I don't think the Fed's raising rates again. I mean, I think I've listened to enough people make enough analysis for why it would be the most idiotic thing for the Fed to actually try to raise rates again. But if it does happen, these bonds are once again going to spike. And imagine you're getting 6% on a it's just a question to see if we can actually get disinflation to be able to happen there. When does the rest of the S&P pick up the slack? Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, some of these companies haven't performed, right? So it's obviously the major 7 companies have done what they need to do, but if the rest of the 493 don't do it, then it's going to be hard to justify that. I think student loans suck up so much free cash. We go into deflation for a little bit. I don't know. So people are saying this argument that student loans are going to cause most people to not have $200 to $300 to spend every single month. Like, as much as I agree with that, I don't know if it results in massive levels of not spending, which causes deflation. Or not deflation, but just stops, putting pressure on inflation. There are some segments of the population that have said they're not even paying back their student loans. Now, these are segments of the population. They're not as sophisticated. For example, people are like, oh, what happens to Sofi if kids just don't pay back their student loans? Sofi's average borrower for student loans makes $163,000 a year. So they're going to pay back their loans. They're like, doctors, engineers. They're people that are much more sophisticated financially. They're not going to like let their money go down the drain, and they're definitely not going to go bankrupt or go to jail or anything, right? So it's more about the other people that have taken out loans that are not going to pay them back. I don't know how big of a risk that is. Obviously, you can't default on your student loan, so eventually the government will take the money from you. So that's the one interesting thing about student loans. You can't go bankrupt on them, so you have to pay them back. Even if you have a shitty job, you have to pay back something, which sucks for the kids. But in the context of the economy, that means that money is going to be coming in. And if that does come in and it's not going into other goods and services, then yeah, you could see a deflationary effect. It's just a question of to what extent is that going to happen. Palantir now at $14.97, tiptoeing through the tulips on $15. Do you guys know that song, Tiptoe Through the Tulips? It's like a weird, creepy song. If you guys look it up later, but it's an interesting song. $15.02 on Palantir. Why are we up right now? Honestly, I think it's because the market's up. There's obviously not a catalyst, I think, for Palantir to be up. I do not think Palantir was oversold by any sense of the imagination, but the market's up, so Palantir will go up. NVIDIA taking a little bit of a breather. It was at 482 in the pre-market, now at 471. Tomorrow is going to determine everything for NVIDIA. Also, we got Snowflake reporting tomorrow. We've got our beautiful friend that's valued at how many times price to sales? 21 times price to sales. Snowflake is up 3% year to date. So obviously, if you bought the stock in the beginning of the year, it has not participated massively in the rally. Frank Slootman is not like Alex Karp. He is not a philosophical talker, so he's going to be very direct with what he thinks is going on in the market. So I'm actually very interested to hear what he has to say, because if they reduce guidance or they miss their numbers, I want to hear him, attribute what is happening. Either it's Snowflake execution, which he'll be upfront about, or it's macro. And it's probably more macro, because IT spend on the enterprise, I don't think is going up as much as it was in 2021 if they miss their numbers. If they don't miss their numbers, then Snowflake should be fine. The problem is, again, Snowflake's a $50 billion company. This is why valuation matters, because even if Snowflake was the most transformative thing in the world, even with their growth at 50 billion, you're paying $50 billion basically for a share. So it's very difficult for them to have upside, because the company needs to justify that they should be worth 100 billion or 70 billion or 60. The same thing with Palantir at 40 billion. It's very hard for them to go above 20, because is it really worth more than 40 billion? But again, this is why valuation actually plays some role in this analysis. Palantir now at $15.02. What's the growth on Snowflake? Probably higher than Palantir. Snowflake's definitely growing at 60 to 70%. So Snowflake's growth is definitely better. Now, their stock-based compensation is also up 53%. So the stock-based comp is pretty high. But their growth is much higher than Palantir. So 100% agree on that. Student loan repayment is far too flexible to have a meaningful effect on the economy long term. See, this is what I was thinking. Biden also just canceled, I think, $8 billion of student loan debt. And I think most people will agree with it. He canceled it for people that have been making payments for 20 years and they've been working in the public sector. So, for example, if you've been working as a teacher or a nonprofit for 20 years and you never missed a payment, he canceled the rest of your $20,000, $15,000 in debt. I actually think that's totally reasonable. I mean, that's probably good for the economy, get those people to start spending again. And also, like, if you've been paying off for 20 years, like, it's time to, like, especially if it's a nonprofit public sector job and not a private sector job. But in regards to the rest of us, I have $10,250 in student loans, and I am getting ready to pay that back. So, I got to pay it back. It's got to happen. I've had 3 years to not have to pay it back. So if all of us have to pay it back, then it's just a question of how much of an impact is that going to have overall on the market. Let's see what we have here. AMC falls to $2. What? AMC? $2? Hold on, let's check that out. Why is it at $2? What happened to the apes? Did they not get their bananas this morning? What's going on? Kai says AMC has been dead. Animated corpse. Bro, why is it down 15%? What is the news? What? Matt is buying spreads, paying off student loans. No, that's facts. Hopefully by next year, those spreads print enough for me to just pay off those student loans all at once. $2.65. So what's the news? Trading halted? Wow, it's halted. Yeah. What happened, bro? Did they not get the ape coin or whatever ridiculous thing they were trying to do approved? GameStop is down 1.89%. I actually went to AMC to watch Oppenheimer. It was a good experience. It wasn't. What's the market cap right now? $2. 1.38 billion. Yeah, I mean, look, $1 billion. That's wild, bro. Hold on, I want to go to the max on AMC. Okay, so we went up to 44 back in 2021. Yeah, AMC. Look at AMC. It was basically at $20 before the pandemic. Normal. It went public in 2013. Was at $20 basically. Crashed to $1 before during the pandemic. Skyrocketed to 44. I think it went up to 80 at one point, and now it's at $2. Damn, that is pretty wild. Doug says movies are grossing 400 million and the theater is valued at 1 billion. That's a good point. It is hard to get. Movies have pretty much died off ever since COVID. I mean, the only reason movies have had some type of unique reason to go is because of Barbie and Oppenheimer. And I think Barbie made more than Oppenheimer, which is insane. Like, I didn't watch Barbie. I was like, I have actual, I care about my life a little bit more than spending time doing that. So that was the only reason AMC is up, which is that's crazy, bro. AMC, that's $2.65. That's insane. Palantir now. Wow, look at that sharp decline. We're at $15. Look at that red candle right there. Palantir went down $14.79. That's incredible. That's a hell of a red candle from 15.13 to 14.81. Someone swing traded the crap out of Palantir right there. So Palantir now back below $15 right now. I'm going to Barbie on Friday. I hope you enjoy Crossroads. Better date movie without. Yeah, it's a better date movie. That's also the thing. I didn't have a date, so if I wasn't gonna go by myself to watch Barbie, I value my time a little bit too much to do that. But I think it's better than Oppenheimer, to be honest. Oppenheimer was stupid. Like any critical analysis on Oppenheimer was done. I just hate it, and I love Christopher Nolan, and I thought the movie was garbage. I mean, like, I just did not think it was good. Barbie's probably gonna be a little more entertaining than Oppenheimer. Let's take a look at Zoom's CFO and see how they can justify the quarter and any thoughts they have to give on what they have to do. Barbie was pretty meh, to be honest. Not horrible, but not good. Yeah, I mean, my friend told me about it, and they were just like, women take over the world. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I don't have time to really watch that.
Shares of Zoom Video rising on better than expected second quarter sales and earnings. The company also raising its full year revenue and earnings per share forecast, pointing to growth in products for big business. Joining us right now is Zoom CFO Kelly Steckelberg. And Kelly, welcome. Glad to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
So one of the things you all have been able to do is come out with new products and services that have helped keep people around, even while so many people went back to work. Why don't you talk a little bit about those products? What have been the most innovative? What have helped?
Yeah,
Remember, real quick, the reason I want to listen to this for a minute is because Cathie Wood says Zoom to 1500. That is the only reason. There's something she is seeing that all of us are missing. Because if we are, and I just want to make sure there's nothing that crazy that we're missing out on.
Are thrilled with the continuing expansion of our portfolio. Of course, we have Zoom Phone, which is our cloud PBX solution, which has been a real propellant to our growth over the last several years. We recently announced Zoom Contact Center, which is also our cloud-based contact center solution, which is natively built and seamlessly integrates with the rest of our platform. And then, of course, we have many solutions to support this hybrid work environment that we are all facing today, including things like Intelligent Director, which places multiple cameras around a room so that when you're working remotely, for example, and there are others in a conference room, you can still see everybody's face on the screen on an individual square, which is something we all became very accustomed to during the pandemic and working remotely. And all of these solutions are doing a great job of keeping workers and employees, whether they're in the office or remote, in a very seamless way.
Hey, Kelly, I'm looking at the stock, which is right now indicated up by about 1.8%.
Okay, guys, it's really laggy. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch to Wi-Fi early in 10 seconds. This is going to be fixed. So give me just 1 second. Here we go.
So indicated up, but earlier it had been indicated up much more. I know earlier this morning it was 4%. I think last night after the bell it might have even been 8%. Part of that is some of the analysts are weighing in at this point. And just running through the price targets, a lot of companies, firms on the street have actually cut their price targets this morning. Baird went to $90 from $95. Wells Fargo went to $75 from $80. Bernstein went to $82 from $92. Obviously, those new price targets are all well above where the stock is right now, but they are moving things a little bit lower. And maybe part of that is summarized by what a KeyBank analyst said, where he said that the company is facing downsell pressure among some of its enterprise clients, meaning that some of these enterprise clients, because they have so many people back, might say, okay, we'll continue to work with you, but we want a cheaper price overall for what we're paying for. Are you seeing that at this point?
So we were really pleased with our Q2 results. We beat on both our top line as well as our profitability numbers, and we raised our full year outlook for both revenue and profitability as well. One of the things that we did talk about with the analysts in our call last night was the fact that we have seen, given the macro environment, some of our customers that potentially have seen dislocation in their employee base wanting to potentially reduce the number of meeting licenses they have. But we're taking that opportunity. Our team is doing a great job of sharing with them the value of the broader platform that we just talked about.
Nope, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. Nope. Like, you see how she framed that? She said our customers want to cancel their licenses with us, but we are using that as an opportunity to upsell them on the broader. No way. That's all I needed to hear. If your customers don't want your product anymore and they want to cancel, and then you go in like a sneaky oil salesman and you're like, hey, wait, you want to cancel this, but look at this AI stuff. You think they want to spend on all this garbage you have here? That's definitely not like one-to-one in terms of productivity of correlation to their workforce. When they want to cancel the core product, which is they don't need as many licenses to video chat anymore. No way. No way, bro. No way. And that's why they brought the CFO there, not the CEO, because the CEO wouldn't keep a straight face. CEOs and founders, they would not be able to keep a straight face saying that shit. You need a suit to be able to justify that nonsense. That's what the CFO just said. Our customers don't want our product. So when they cancel, we go back to them and say, hey, do you want this product that is way less valuable than our core product? What's our core product? Video chat. What is our new product? AI metaverse video chat. Why would I want AI metaverse video chat if I don't want the core video chat? Now, Cathie's got a loser on her hands, bro. No matter how she wants to split it, there is the revenue growth itself shows $1 billion for 4 quarters in a row. There is no way they're getting out of this hole. There is no way. At least not to 1,500 or even her bear case is 700. No way. Nope. Not buying it. That's not happening, Zoom. That is not happening. There's just no way. Palantir stock down means missed internet payment this month. No, the thing is, bro, I have 2 routers. One is called Google. One is like the actual one. The Google Home sometimes connects automatically, and the Google Home is way slower than the actual one. So that's what I did. I just connected to the actual one. Okay, so we figured out why Sofi is down, or why Zoom is down. There's just no way that Zoom is going to be able to have that growth. Here's a good thing by Sofi yesterday. Sofi is now in the top 25 in the iOS finance charts, which is pretty amazing. My analysis is if they keep moving up the ranks, 584,000 members are probably going to seem like nothing very soon. Anthony Noto also quote tweeted this. He said, well, heck, why stop at top 25? Let's be top 10 in everything. Noto is a dog. He's a monster. He wants to get to top 10. He wants to like hit it out of the park. If SoFi can get to that top 10 in finance, they are going to get a lot of members every quarter. Top 10 means probably like 10, 15,000 people a day downloading that app. That's just a lot of people getting into the product. And I think the reason people are downloading it is because student loans are coming up and people are checking out, hey, what does it look like if I refinance with SoFi? So if you are a SoFi shareholder, this is something to really take into account. The iOS rankings lets you know, is there an upwards trajectory in terms of people and overall interest in SoFi? And I think it's a matter of time before they get into top 10. It might take a while because top 10 is hard, but I think they were stuck in the top 50 for like 8 months, and then now they're in top 25. So it'll be cool to see them get into the top 10 pretty soon. Dude, I've been wondering for the last 18 months, why is she so bullish on Zoom when you have Teams? Yeah, and I thought there was some moat to Zoom outside of Teams, which I still think there is, but I don't think it's enough of a moat where you can definitively invest in it for the long term. I think the moat of the product definitely exists against Teams as a standalone, enterprise software play, but enterprise software is hard, bro. And you're going to tell me enterprise software is going to go, enterprise software product that's not Palantir or Snowflake is going to go to 1,500 before, like, Zoom's going to do that over. I don't know. It's a tough sales cycle from that perspective. Tesla at 238, up 3%. Snowflake up 1%. Truist is down just a little bit. Dix is down. Macy's is down. Apple is up. So we're seeing a mixture of green and red. Palantir now at $14.94, closer to $15. Enphase at $129. SoFi 830. Robinhood at $10.39. It's flat. And Nvidia at $4.72. So we're seeing a mix of retail stores and banks that are red, and then we're seeing some high growth tech like Tesla be a little green, probably because high growth tech took a beating over the past 2 weeks. And so we're seeing a little bit of rotation there from a bunch of different angles. Coinbase at $74, Bitcoin at 26,000, Meta doing okay today at 290. Where's Google? Google has not given up its earnings gain. Neither has Amazon. I mean, Amazon was at 140, it's at 134, but still, Google and Amazon seems like the market is running to safety on these two stocks. They are not running away from them. SMCI at 259, Celsius at 180. Celsius continuing its earnings upwards trajectory. They had a great earnings. People can say it's overvalued, but they had a pretty good earnings, and the market's rewarding them for that. And PayPal at $59.69 currently right now. All right, not too horrible of a market. DRK, thank you for being here. Carlos says Zoom wants to offer an AI assistant that's trained on the intimate data discussed on a video call. Is a tough proposition. I will give Carlos that. That is true. I mean, I don't know how much the enterprises care that deeply about that, because I don't know if they're necessarily using enterprise data, but I know consumers definitely might care a little bit more about you using everything about them in regards to training data to be able to then make a decision on, how they can further sell data in the future. So now it's in the fine print. I don't even know if consumers are reading all of the terms of service, but they are definitely using AI in a different way to help their bottom line. And that might also be playing a role in why people don't want to be using Zoom as much. I did my part for Amazon stock yesterday. Zoom is still better than Teams. I agree. I mean, I'm still going to use Zooms. I don't care. Like, I love Zoom. It works. It's just I'm paying $15 a month, and I'm sorry, I don't know if my $15 a month is gonna make a dent in the overall ability for Zoom to do well. Let's take a look at this. This is a little bit more analysis on why money market funds and some of the other stuff that is giving you return in the market is better than equities.
Our next guest might talk about that. Says recent tightening of financial conditions gives the Fed cover to be less hawkish when central bankers meet at the Economic Symposium in Jackson Hole later this week. Ross Mayfield is an investment strategist, a strategy analyst at Baird, which has $375 billion.
What does the guest look like? I think I know what he looks like, but what do you guys? He looks like a certain movie character to me. But what do you guys think he looks like?
And assets under management. Ross, it's good to see you. We were talking mortgage rates earlier. So when they go up like this, anybody that gets a new home, it's inflationary because it costs so much, but don't fewer people actually do it? Because which is it? Is it inflationary, deflationary? Is it part of the credit contraction that the Fed doesn't have to do when rates go up?
I think the mortgage rate spiking to 7.5% is deflationary. People are staying in their homes, inventories at historic lows. People just aren't turning over homes at all. Maybe it's inflationary at a place like Lowe's or Home Depot because more people are staying in place and spending their money there. But we've seen that, demand at 6.5% was still pretty solid, maybe unexpectedly solid in the housing market. Maybe some structural demand from the millennial generation, but At 7.5%, you're really just seeing the market freeze, and you're kind of seeing the effect of what tighter rates can really do on an interest rate sensitive sector like housing, when a lot of the economy is less interest rate sensitive than it might have used to been.
So Ross, we've hit a little bit of a bump in the road in this rally from the October lows in the S&P. We haven't done much in August, and it's really all based on 30 basis points in the 10-year. We were at, I guess we were a little bit below 4. So we finally go above 4, and now we're threatening. Isn't that, I mean, that seems like it's not a huge deal unless it keeps going from here. Is that the concern?
Yeah, I think there's some concern that there's some upward momentum now. You've got the upward momentum on the 10-year. You've got the Fed, particularly those July minutes, right? Inflation's at 3%, and they're still talking about they see upside risks and they want to do higher for longer.
So 2 things. 1, he definitely looks like Borat. Second of all, he's correct about those July minutes. Inflation's at 3%, and the Fed still feels a reacceleration will happen, which is why this damn 10-year is giving you 4.3%. Because at the end of the day, if the Fed thinks inflation is coming back, you'd rather put your money here than in the markets.
So I think there's concern that there's upward momentum to rates, but the reality is the market was at a really tenuous place anyway. You had rates rising, but sentiment was hot, positioning was starting to get offside, seasonal weak patch, extended valuations, and a lack of upside catalysts after earnings, came in fine, but not blowing anything out of the water. So I think it so far seems like a pretty orderly pause. You don't really have any leadership from the defensive stocks. And, again, you need to be used to these kind of 5, 6, 7% corrections amidst the broader backdrop of what we think is a cyclical bull market.
So I agree with him on the ending there. I do think it's a cyclical bull market. I do think a lot of this pullback, and Carlos has been saying this on Finance Junkie for months now, this is so normal. It is so normal to be able to get a pullback from hitting almost close to all-time highs on the S&P. It's very good to get the froth out of the market. Greed and fear index has gone to neutral from being extremely greedy. So it makes sense at the end of the day. And we're probably going to see a little bit more pain over the next couple months before we head towards the next leg up. But it's natural, and it might be a really good dip buying opportunity. Are we doing live NVIDIA earnings? Yes. Tomorrow we will be live for NVIDIA. And we will be listening to Jensen Huang tell us that their chip demand is out of control so that we can see Palantir hopefully rise with NVIDIA. That is the goal. Garcia has finally hit 100 shares of Enphase with my last 15 shares at 128.60. Congrats, man. That's amazing. I was thinking of buying one Enphase share in my Roth IRA today that I opened up and sending it to Vitaly and just being like, well, I'm with you for until I'm 59. I'm with you on Enphase. I'm gonna keep it. He looks like Abe Lincoln. He definitely looks like Abe Lincoln, bro. He definitely looks like Abe Lincoln. Philip says rates are going up because people are selling bonds due to potential inflation inverse. Yeah, this is also true. Japan is the largest buyer of U.S. bonds as well. And I'm doing more research on them, but some of the stuff they're doing in regards to treasuries that they hold is also impacting the bond yields and allowing them to go a little bit higher. And so a lot of what Japan is doing, the Bank of Japan plays a role here. And I'm not super well educated on it. I'm still reading a lot on it, but they are the biggest owners of U.S. debt. And one of the things that they're doing is they still have to convert all those treasuries into yen and or Japanese yen. And that's not really good for us. And so there's some nuance there for some of the stuff that's happening that's also causing yields to go up. Regardless, the overall reason why bonds are up is because people still do not feel comfortable putting their money in the stock market. I mean, if you could easily get 10% from the market, whether it's in the S&P, the NASDAQ, or any of these other stocks, the risk was just not that risky, bonds would not be at 5%, right? Bonds would not be at 4% because the money would just not be there to support those yields. They would be into the best companies in the world. And it's just harder to do that with interest rates being as high as they are because the cost of capital is higher. And this is the first time I've lived through interest rates getting this high in a significant way where I'm able to be conscious enough to understand the impact it has on the equity markets. And so I think this is a great learning lesson for all of us if this is your first kind of interest rate hike cycle, so that the next time this happens, because eventually, let's say by 2026, interest rates are back down to 0. And then by 2032, interest rates are back up to 5%. Now we'll have gone through this whole charades and deja vu all over again to understand kind of what it feels like and how to be appropriate. SoFi hasn't been doing well past few weeks. What's your take on it near the end of the year? Is there any hope of it going up? We asked Chris about this last night. Chris, Data Driven Investing. He's a big SoFi guy. He said, SoFi to 10 or 12 bucks by the end of the year. I tend to agree. I think as long as the general market goes up, SoFi will go up as well. And I think by the end of the year, that will happen. Student loans is going to be a big catalyst for SoFi. It might not show up in the numbers next quarter, but definitely Q4, which will be in February of 2024. Those results will show up. Originations are going through the roof. They're moving up on the iOS app charts. Anthony Noto is just executing like a boss. They're going to be gap profitable probably by Q4, probably not this quarter. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, 584,000 members. The high side on the SoFi Weekly podcast we thought would be 480,000. They, hit 584. If they can keep that up, at some point, the market's going to have to recognize that all those price targets of SoFi at 15, they're going to start to come true. I mean, there's like a ton of price targets at 12, 15, 16 bucks. They will come true, but it's just going to take some time to get there. And remember, it's up 100% from May at 840. So I think consolidating at this range is not bad. It's definitely better than consolidating at like $4 or $5. Okay, that is it for me. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. August 22nd, 2023. For those that didn't get the word of the day, this is going to be a fun one. We did this, so there's probably like 200 people here that got it. For the 300 that didn't, the word of the day is
anti-penultimate.
Anti-penultimate. There is nowhere on the planet you have ever heard of this word other than my live stream. So just remember that. It means third from the end. So you know how people say second to last? This is like third from the last. So the anti-penultimate episode of the thrilling TV series kept viewers on the edge of their seats. As the show was winding down, the anti-penultimate firework exploded in a dazzling display of colors in the sky. Look how much of a smart ass you have to be to say that. Like, imagine you're watching the fireworks and there's only 3 left. And then the third one goes off. And they're like, oh, wow, the anti-penultimate firework. That was phenomenal. I can't wait till the last 2 fireworks go off. Like, this is one of those words where if you use it on a date, if you use it in a job interview, if you use it in a area in which you need to seem intellectually superior towards the other person, you will be the guy in that room or the gal if you use this word. I mean, people will look at you as soon as you say it. It's like Byzantine. When you're trying to say something complex and you're like, wow, this is very Byzantine. People are like, what the fuck is that? And it means complex. If you say anti-penultimate, somehow, if you find a way to use it, you will seem smart. I can guarantee you that. So that's on a date you are dumped. Bro, okay, let me do one last quick joke. So yesterday someone tweeted at me. They said me so happy. They tweeted me so happy. And I was like, this is a joke I said on a podcast like months ago. So the joke was I was on a date with a girl and the lady, we were at sushi and the lady came up to us and she was like, would you guys like miso soup? And I was like, yeah, miso soup would make me so happy. And the girl I was on a date with, she started laughing so hard, bro. Like she was just like, and I was just like, I'm a funny guy. I don't know what to tell you. Like now either she was laughing at pity over how like sad of an attempt it was to be funny, or she was genuinely laughing at how good the joke was. But regardless, she was laughing. So someone tweeted me so happy at me yesterday after I tweeted something about stocks. And I was like, wow, that's a real person who listens to the podcast because I haven't made that joke in a very long time. So they probably remember that story from months ago. But the point is, these words, these phrases, me so happy, anti-penultimate, Byzantine, this will single-handedly increase your intellectual capacity to exist in life. So I hope you all take it seriously and you definitely use these words in a meaningful manner. It was a sad laugh that, well, we got a second date, so hopefully it wasn't that sad. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I will see you guys on Finance Junkies later today, and we will talk then. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Tuesday. Bye-bye.